Your car is paid off, no payment, no debt, just you and the open road. Then it happens. The check engine light comes on. Or you're sitting at a red light and you hear a sound you've never heard before. The mechanic gives you a number, $2,800, maybe $3,500, and suddenly that free and clear car doesn't feel so free. Here's the exact moment that trips up many drivers. You stare at that repair bill and you think, maybe it's just time for something new. That one thought can quietly cost you tens of thousands of dollars if you get it wrong, because a new car doesn't just come with a payment, it comes with higher insurance, sales tax, registration fees, and a value that starts falling the second you drive off the lot.
Auto loan defaults for Americans have hit a record high.
Many car owners to consider longer loan terms.
Almost lost my home. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything.
23% interest for her loan. Credit Acceptance is one of the country's largest so-called subprime car lenders.
The cost of buying a car that's significantly higher than it was a few years ago.
Is my vehicle worth repairing or should I replace it?
By the end of this video, you'll know when keeping your old car is the smarter money move. You'll know when it's genuinely costing you more than you think. And you'll know the one ratio that should trigger a much closer look. Not your gut, not the dealership, not the fear of the next repair bill. Get this wrong, and it's one of the more expensive, avoidable mistakes a household can make. So let's break it down. Here's the belief many people carry around. Once a car hits a certain age, or once repairs start stacking up, it's on its way out, and replacing it is the responsible move. And it feels responsible. Nobody wants to be stranded on the highway. Nobody wants to keep pouring money into something that's falling apart. But that belief leaves out one enormous thing.
A rising number of Americans, 28%, now have auto loans worth more than the value of their vehicle.
So much so, a lot of them might not realize how much it's actually costing them.
The cost of whatever you replace it with. A repair bill is a number you can see. It's on paper, in your hand, right now. A car payment is spread across 5 or 6 years, so it feels smaller, even when it is far bigger. That's the trap. Our brains treat visible pain as worse than invisible pain, even when the invisible one costs more. Car buying is one of the clearest examples of that trap in personal finance. So which path actually wins? The answer surprises a lot of people, and it comes down to a comparison shoppers often overlook. Let's start with what a new car really costs, not the sticker price. The full cost. According to ALA's 2025 Your Driving Cost study, the average cost to own and operate a new vehicle is $11,577 a year. That's about $965 a month, once you count depreciation, financing costs, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and taxes and fees. And depreciation alone eats $4,334 of that every year. It's the single biggest cost of owning a car, and it's completely invisible on your monthly budget. Here's why that number stings. Kelley Blue Book estimates that many new cars lose around 20% or more in the first year, and about 55% on average within 5 years, with some approaching 60%. Buy a car for $40,000, and it can realistically be worth around $32,000 12 months later. You didn't crash it. You didn't neglect it. It lost $8,000 sitting in your driveway. That $11,577 figure measures the total economic cost of ownership.
Americans are paying more than $50,000 on average for a new car. That's according to Kelley Blue Book.
Of new cars has hit a milestone. The average sale price in September was, for the first time, more than $50,000.
But there is also the monthly cash flow problem. For buyers who finance, Experian's data from early 2026 shows the average new car payment reached a record $770 a month on an average loan of $43,925 stretched across roughly 69.5 months. At that average term, the buyer will make around $53,500 in payments. Some of that becomes equity in the car, and some goes toward interest, but the payment still has to leave the household budget every month. That's the part the just get a new car instinct often skips. The repair bill feels painful because it arrives all at once. The new car cost feels manageable because it is divided into smaller pieces. Now flip to the other side, keeping the old car. In S&P Global Mobility's latest analysis, the average vehicle on United States roads was 12.8 years old, the oldest it has ever been. As new and used vehicle prices have remained elevated, more drivers have continued holding onto their vehicles longer. Picture a real example. You own a 10-year-old sedan, 120,000 miles paid off. Insurance, gas, registration, and routine maintenance run you, let's estimate, somewhere around $250 to $350 a month total, depending on your state. Then a $2,500 transmission repair lands. That puts your total cost for the year somewhere around $5,500 to $6,700. 12 months of the average new car payment alone is more than $9,000, and that is before adding the new car's insurance, fuel, registration, taxes, and routine maintenance. That's the head-to-head people often fail to run. They compare the repair to zero. They should be comparing it to the cost of replacing the car over the same stretch of time. And 1 year is not always enough. So stretch the comparison across 3 years. Suppose you keep the older sedan. You pay the $2,500 repair now. Over the next 3 years, maybe you spend another $3,000 on routine maintenance and smaller repairs. That is $5,500 beyond your normal fuel, insurance, and registration costs. Now suppose instead you replace it with a new car carrying the average $770 monthly payment. Over 36 months, the payments alone total $27,720. Again, that does not mean all $27,720 disappears. Some of it reduces the loan balance, but the car is also losing value, insurance may be higher, and taxes and fees arrive at the beginning of the purchase. This is why time period matters. A $2,500 repair looks huge when you compare it with this month's budget. It can look very different when you compare it with 3 years of replacement costs. That does not mean every repair should be approved. It means the question is not, is this repair expensive? The better question is this repair more expensive than the realistic alternative? Before you use this to justify keeping a car that's actively falling apart, there is a line you need to know about. One common rule of thumb is the 50% rule. If a single repair costs more than half of what your car is currently worth, it is time to seriously weigh replacing it.
Better buy another car.
Sometimes it's just time because of safety concerns. It's an older vehicle. It requires costly repairs. So how much money did you spend on the one you loved before you got the 2011?
At least $35,000. It all just kind of builds. New tires, new brakes.
A $2,500 repair on a car worth $2,000 is a red flag. That same repair on a car worth $8,000 may still be financially reasonable, especially if the rest of the vehicle is in good condition. And watch for the pattern, not just the one bill. Transmission this year, engine trouble next, suspension after that. That may signal several aging systems beginning to wear out around the same time.
If you've got a car that's worth $5,000 and it's going to be $7,000 to repair it, I would decline to do the repairs.
Very different from one isolated repair on an otherwise solid vehicle. This is where an estimate of future repairs matters more than the repair sitting in front of you. Ask the mechanic what else is likely to need attention within the next 12 to 24 months. Brakes, tires, suspension, cooling system, timing components, oil leaks, and electrical problems can change the decision when several are approaching at once. A $3,000 repair may be manageable if the vehicle is expected to run reliably for another 3 years. The same repair becomes less attractive if the mechanic also expects another $4,000 or $5,000 of work in the near future. That is why the car's value is only one part of the decision. You also need to know what condition the rest of the car is in. Reliability isn't equal either.
Let's just say it needs $1,000 worth of repairs. Why do you want to take $1,000 repairs and turn it into a $40,000 car?
Spending money fixing a car or finding a new one both have pros and cons.
Your insurance is going to go up. Your tags, to register them is going to go up.
Here's the sharper way to think about it. You're not really deciding between old and new. You're deciding between a known car and an alternative with a different kind of uncertainty. With your existing car, you know its history. A used replacement may come with problems you have not seen yet. A new car reduces much of that repair uncertainty through its warranty, but you pay substantially more for that predictability. And one cost nobody puts a number on is the hassle of an unreliable car. Missed work, towing, rental cars. The stress of wondering if it will start. That is real, just don't let it override the math by itself. You can put a rough number on some of it. If a breakdown means a missed shift, a towing bill, and several days of transportation costs, include those expenses in the repair side of the comparison. The point is not to pretend inconvenience has no value. The point is to stop treating inconvenience as permission to ignore every other cost. So who actually comes out ahead keeping the old car? If your car runs well, repairs are occasional rather than constant, and any single repair stays clearly under that 50% line, you are often financially better off keeping what you have. You're avoiding thousands a year in depreciation and financing costs that a new car creates automatically, whether it ever breaks down or not. Who actually wins by buying new? A smaller group than many people assume. It's the driver-facing repairs that approach or pass half the car's value, especially when those repairs are becoming a pattern rather than a one-off. It's someone whose car has become a genuine safety risk. And it's someone who has run the full numbers, payment, insurance increase, taxes, fees, and can absorb that cost without straining the monthly budget. There is also a middle option this comparison should not ignore. Replacing an unreliable old car does not automatically mean buying a brand new one. A carefully inspected used vehicle can reduce the monthly cost and avoid the steepest part of new car depreciation. It also carries more uncertainty than a new car, so the inspection and vehicle history matter. That option does not always win, but it can make sense when the current car is no longer reliable, and a brand new vehicle would put too much pressure on the budget. Here's what trips people up, treating any repair bill as proof it is time. One isolated repair usually is not enough evidence by itself. It is the ratio of repair cost to car value, the condition of the rest of the vehicle, and the pattern over time that actually tell you something. Bottom line, an older paid-off car with occasional proportionate repairs is usually the cheaper decision. A car demanding repairs that rival its own worth over and over is where the math finally tips. So here's what to remember the next time that estimate lands in your inbox. Don't compare the repair to zero. Compare it to what replacing the car actually costs over the same period of time. Payment, depreciation, insurance, taxes, fees, all of it. Then ask 3 questions. How much is the car worth today? What repairs are likely over the next 2 years? And what will the replacement really cost after insurance, taxes, fees, and depreciation? Do that, and most of the time the math quietly sides with the car you already own. Now a real question for you, if your car needed a $2,500 repair tomorrow, would you fix it or start car shopping? Be honest down in the comments, I want to see what people actually say. And if this changed how you see your own car, hit subscribe. Worth It Finance breaks down exactly these decisions every week, so you stop guessing what your money moves cost and start knowing.